Welcome to our exploration of a critical issue facing our planet. The paradox of how the world's biggest polluters often find themselves exempt from climate regulations. In this video, we will delve into the intricate web of economic power, political lobbying, and the disparity between developed and developing nations that allow these entities to sidestep accountability. We will also examine the complexities of international agreements, the loopholes in technological innovation, and the influence of national security concerns, all while considering how public perception shapes our understanding of these challenges. Join us as we uncover the reasons behind this unsettling reality and its implications for our collective future. 1. The paradox of exemption. The world is grappling with the escalating threat of climate change, yet the biggest polluters often find themselves exempt from stringent climate rules. This paradox raises eyebrows and questions about global environmental justice. On one hand, there are global summits and agreements, but on the other, the largest contributors to pollution seem to slip through the cracks. This situation is akin to a traffic cop ignoring the speeding cars and only ticketing the cyclists. The rules are there, but enforcement appears selective. Why is this the case? The reasons are complex and multifaceted, rooted in economic, political, and social dimensions. Understanding them requires unpacking the layers of global policy and power dynamics. 2. Economic power and influence. One major factor is the sheer economic power wielded by these polluters. Countries and corporations with significant economic clout often have the leverage to negotiate exemptions or lenient regulations. For instance, multinational corporations can threaten to relocate their operations to countries with fewer restrictions, which can be a significant blow to the economies that host them. This is much like a giant holding a delicate vase. Everyone is careful not to upset the balance. Moreover, these entities contribute significantly to national GDPs, creating jobs and driving technological advancements, which makes governments hesitant to impose strict regulations. This economic dependency creates a cycle where exemptions become almost inevitable. 3. Political lobbying and influence. The role of political lobbying cannot be overstated. Big polluters invest heavily in lobbying efforts to sway policy decisions in their favor. This investment pays off in terms of regulatory relief or outright exemptions. It's akin to a chess game where the pieces are moved strategically to protect the king, in this case, the polluter's interests. Lobbying ensures that the rules are either watered down or delayed in implementation. This influence often extends to international forums where climate policies are negotiated, allowing powerful polluters to shape the outcomes to their benefit. The result? A climate rulebook that is not as stringent as it could be, offering loopholes for the biggest contributors to environmental degradation. 4. Developing versus developed nations. Another layer to this issue is the distinction between developing and developed nations. Developing countries are often given leeway in climate agreements, as they argue that their economic growth should not be stifled. This is understandable, as these nations are trying to elevate their populations out of poverty, much like a sprinter catching up in a race. However, this leniency sometimes extends to large polluters in these regions, allowing them to continue harmful practices unchecked. On the flip side, developed countries have historically contributed more to global emissions, yet they sometimes evade stringent rules due to their significant geopolitical influence. This creates an imbalance where the environmental burden is not equally shared. 5. The complexity of international agreements. International climate agreements are often complex and filled with compromises. The need to get multiple countries on board means that the rules are sometimes diluted to achieve consensus. It's like making a soup with too many cooks. The end result may lack flavor. The Paris Agreement is a prime example, where individual countries set their own targets. This flexibility, while fostering participation, also allows for varying levels of commitment. Consequently, big polluters can set less ambitious goals or delay implementation, effectively exempting themselves from stricter scrutiny. The complexity and lack of enforcement mechanisms in these agreements make it challenging to hold the biggest polluters accountable. 6. Technological and innovation loopholes. Technological advancements are often cited as a reason for leniency towards big polluters. Companies argue that they are investing in cleaner technologies, so they should be given more time or exemptions from current regulations. Imagine a student promising to study harder next time but asking for a pass on the current exam. While innovation is crucial for long-term sustainability, it can also serve as a convenient excuse for delaying action. Moreover, the pace of technological adoption varies, and not all promised innovations come to fruition within the expected timelines. This creates a loophole where polluters continue their activities, banking on future solutions that may or may not materialize. 7. National security concerns. In some cases, national security considerations lead to exemptions for big polluters. Industries such as oil and gas are often deemed critical for national security, providing energy security and economic stability. This is similar to a kingdom protecting its fortress at all costs. Governments are reluctant to impose strict regulations on these sectors, fearing repercussions such as energy shortages or economic downturns. As a result, these industries enjoy a level of protection that exempts them from the full brunt of climate policies. This prioritization of security over environmental concerns highlights the complex interplay between different national interests. 8. The role of public perception. Public perception plays a crucial role in how climate rules are applied. In regions where there is strong public support for environmental action, governments are more likely to enforce strict regulations. However, in areas where economic growth is prioritized, environmental concerns may take a backseat. It's like a seesaw, where one side goes up only when the other goes down. Public opinion can be swayed by media, economic conditions, and cultural values, all of which influence government policies. Consequently, big polluters in regions with less public pressure often escape stringent climate rules, perpetuating the cycle of exemption. The intricate web of economic, political, and social factors ensures that the world's biggest polluters often remain exempt from the strictest climate rules. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for addressing the global challenge of climate change effectively.